Thanks for listening to the Good Enough Wellness Podcast. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Emily.
And we're passionate about holistic wellness that real people with real lives can achieve.
We see you out there striving for perfection, but we want you to know that good enough can be good enough.
Before we get started, everything we talk about in this show is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Always talk to your healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, lifestyle, medication, or supplements. You're listening to episode 41, Safe Sun Exposure. In this episode, we are each going to talk about ways to safely get sun exposure.
So Kayla, what have you been nerding out about?
So I have been nerding out about the season of spring and its association with liver health. If you've been on my email list, you've seen a couple different emails about spring and what it means for your liver. Spring is a time where we are starting to get outside more, get our lymph moving more. We're starting to eat more bitter vegetables because those are the things that are starting to grow right now.
Ooh, trout lily season is right around the corner.
Yeah, so spring is associated, especially in traditional Chinese medicine, with the liver, and we see that reflected in what is in season and just with our ability to get outside and move more. So really nerding out about it's spring, so now is the time to be caring for that liver, and how can we do that? Move our bodies, eat bitter vegetables. You can try castor oil packing.
Yeah.
There's lots of different things you can try for your liver.
Dang, we should do a whole liver health episode.
I would love that. That would be awesome.
So fun.
So yeah. What about you, Emily?
So I've been nerding out about, this is I'm in the baby stages of nerding out about this, but I just read a book by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It's one of her earlier ones. It's called The Lovely and the Lost, and it's all about this girl who has search and rescue dogs. And it was just really fascinating to me as someone who has a dog who's quite smart, how they communicate with their people, and how something that I thought was really interesting. Now, this is a fictional work, so take it as fiction, I suppose, but I would hope she did her research. That search and rescue for dogs, it's like play. It's all play for them, because it's like a big game of hide and seek.
Yeah.
And I thought that was super interesting and fascinating. So I don't know. I think they're super cool, and I think I might do some more reading about them.
Yeah. I love learning about service dogs. I still think about raising service dogs because I think it's absolutely fascinating the things that they can train these dogs to notice.
Yeah, it's so cliche to be like, oh, dogs are so great, but they really are. Dogs are really cool.
Yeah.
Hey there, Goopers. Yeah, Goopers. You guys who listen to the Good Enough Wellness Podcast, that's your name now. Get used to it. Are you craving a healthier, more balanced life, but you're not sure where to start? Or maybe you've tried all the tips and tricks that seem impossible to keep up with because, well, you've got a real life. Sound familiar? Here's some good news. We've got something just for you. Our free Patreon community is all about holistic wellness that works for real people just like you. Whether you're juggling a busy schedule, navigating health challenges, or just curious about improving your digestion, sleep, or energy levels, we're here to help you thrive without the overwhelm. Inside, you'll find show notes, downloads, worksheets, and exclusive recordings to help you get started. Plus, it's not just about advice, it's about connection. You'll join a supportive group of people on the same journey, cheering each other on and sharing ideas that actually work. The best part? It's totally free to join. So why not take the first step today? Head over to patreon.com/goodenoughwellnesspodcast and join the community where wellness meets real life. Let's grow together. You've got this. So spring is here. Summer is right down the road. And something that I think everybody is starting to think about is sun exposure and how to stay safe in the sun, which sunscreens they're going to buy, how many times an hour they need to apply it to their kids. Do we do aerosol? Do we get one of those? Have you seen those paintbrush things? You can get a paintbrush. No. Yeah, it's there's a whole industry. Yes. I think the goal is for it to not be messy, but I don't know if that was achieved. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And you may have guessed that we have some little bit nuanced conversation around it, maybe a little bit of hot takes. So I guess let's get into it.
So let's just start with talking about why we want some sun exposure in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Do we even need to be in the sun?
Yes.
Ever?
Yes.
So let's just start with, I don't know why that was so funny to me. The sun provides us with essential vitamin D. And when we consume the proper fats, which the proper fats, if you don't know, saturated fats as well as some unsaturated fats, our bodies make cholesterol. Cholesterol, I know, sounds like a scary word, but we need cholesterol in order to make vitamin D. And some of the cholesterol that we get from eating proper fats is stored just under the skin. So when the sun hits our skin, it synthesizes the cholesterol into vitamin D. So it's essential to have proper fats and sunlight in order to make vitamin D.
That's so cool. Right off the bat, that's really cool.
Yes. I know a lot of people know that the sun is good for vitamin D.
But not really how.
Yeah. And what we need in order to make vitamin D. They're just like, well, I was in the sun. And it's like, yeah, you probably have cholesterol in your skin, but making sure you're eating those proper fats really makes sure that you have enough cholesterol to make enough of vitamin D. And then the sun also resets our circadian rhythm. And I know there's a lot of buzz, at least in the Instagram wellness circles that I run in, about circadian rhythm and the sun. And we live in an environment that's inundated with blue light.
Yes.
So there are folks much more educated on this topic than I am. But from what I understand, most of our daylight hours are spent indoors under artificial light that is, quote unquote, darker than daylight from the sun.
Right.
And then we spend much of our after dark hours also indoors under artificial light that is much brighter than the darkness outside without the sun, or even darkness lit by firelight. So I learned a lot about this in the book, The 4-Season Solution by Dallas Hartwig. And he did experiments with I think they're called a luxometer.
Okay.
So it's a piece of technology that measures the lux, which is the brightness of different environments.
Interesting.
They measure brightness by lux, and he just did some experiments where he woke up and turned his bedside lamp on or whatever and measured the lux, and then he went outside immediately and measured the lux and just measured lux throughout different times of the day, both indoors and outdoors. And this is what he found during the day when the sun is out, the luxometer was reading 10,000, and indoors it was reading 2,000 or even less than 1,000. And then after dark, he did the same thing where he had all the lights on his house or a TV on or whatever, and then also measured outside, and he was finding outside it was 2 and inside it was 2,000.
Right. Or flatlining.
Yeah. And so it really messes with our bodies because we have receptors all over our bodies, really, not just in our eyes, but our eyes are the main ones that have light receptors. And when we're exposing ourselves to dim light during the day and bright light at night, it really is messing with our sense of time and our circadian rhythm and whether or not we should be awake or not. So this leads us into the conversation about melatonin.
Yeah.
And melatonin we think of as the sleepiness hormone or the sleep hormone. It's really not. It's really the darkness hormone. So melatonin increases or releases whenever it is dark, regardless of how awake we feel. If it's dark, our bodies release melatonin. That makes us sleepy.
Hey, it's dark.
It's dark. It's time to go to bed. And then in the morning, or whenever it gets bright out, whether that's with a lamp or the sun, our bodies recognize that it decreases or suppresses melatonin and releases cortisol. And that makes us feel awake because it's what we usually think of it as a stress hormone, but it also promotes wakefulness. So that's how the whole system works with the sun. And when we rely on artificial lighting, it can be difficult for our bodies to know whether it is day or night based on the light receptors in our eyes. And spending time outdoors at certain parts of the day can help to reset the circadian clock and ensure we are awake during the day and sleepy at night.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about this because Circadian rhythm has really been in the spotlight recently, and we all got our blue light blockers
It's
and
had
all
its day in
that.
the sun, you might say.
I was gonna go there, and then I skirted around
I did it for you.
Okay, well, in that case, I would like to point out that they could have called it a lux capacitor, and they chose not to, and that was just a shame for
Maybe
everyone.
it had its name before Back to the Future.
I hadn't thought about that. I feel like
I
Back to the
actually
Future
don't
has
know if
just
it's
always
called a
been
luxometer, to be honest. I kind of made that up.
a
I'm gonna Google it.
luxinator. Perry the platypus.
Yeah. I am going to Google it because now I want to know if I'm right. There is a luxometer.
I stand by my original statement then. Could have been a lux capacitor.
Or just a lux meter.
Lame. Anyways,
Anyway.
so we all got blue light blockers, right?
Yes.
And like the last time I got glasses, they're like, oh, we can add like for this much money, we can add this. And I was like, oh yeah, I definitely want those. You know what I use those glasses for? Driving.
Yeah.
During the day.
When you want to be exposed to the blue light of the sun.
And stay awake. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I just spent all this money for something
Whoops.
that I don't even need them for.
Yeah.
When like reading glasses, something like that would make perfect sense. In the evening you want blue light blockers. That makes total sense. But it's like the probiotic issue all over again, right? We find out about gut bacteria and we go, I need some of those probiotics. I want some. And so like you're just throwing probiotics at it willy-nilly. You're just blocking blue light willy-nilly. And now suddenly you're not even getting it from the sun because you go outside with your glasses on that have blue light blockers built right in. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. It's crazy. And if you want to like do a super deep dive on that, there are lots of people who are like, this
really
is what they
into
do.
it. Yeah.
And you can learn a lot from them. I've listened to a couple different podcasts about it, and it's so fascinating. I wish I could get into like everything ever.
Yeah. Please take this as your permission to like, you can or you cannot dive into something. Like you are not obligated to dive into something and nerd out about it if you don't want to. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, well, I think sometimes when, especially in the wellness world, you hear about this one thing, you're like, this is it.
Yeah. Do your research.
I need to know. This is it. This is the one thing that's going to change everything. And I'm not saying it's not helpful. I'm not saying it's not good information, but let's circle back to the whole like stress is like more important to care about than blue light.
Yes.
So let's, if blue light is stressing you out, if learning, if deep diving and like changing your life to like match this magical circadian rhythm is stressing you out, then maybe that's not where you want to start.
Yeah, that's also not going to be healthy.
Exactly. So I guess that kind of brings us into the question of like, how do we get in the sun then correctly and safely? Because hello, skin cancer.
So
and
you don't want to burn to a crisp
no,
or worry about skin cancer. I get that. So I just have a couple of like, well, not a couple, I guess there's quite a few bullet points of like how we can support our bodies so that we can safely expose ourselves to the sun. We talked about this at the top. Consume the proper ratio of fats. Eating a ratio of like 1 to 4 saturated to unsaturated fatty acids is a great place to start. And like, don't forget that the quality of these fats is really important as well. I'd never recommend getting unsaturated fats from vegetable or canola oil. That stuff has undergone extensive processing and deodorizing to keep you from know that it's rancid. It's already oxidated and is going to cause issues down the road. But you can use things like olive oil, avocado oil, or whole nuts and seeds. Those are all great places to start for unsaturated fats. And then all this ensures that the cholesterol we are making is stable enough to withstand
there you go.
the sun's rays and turn into vitamin D. One of these days, I will do a deep dive on fat and cell structure.
Yeah, it's very fascinating.
Yes,
and
it
just
is like my favorite thing in the world.
Right. And just real quick, you're saying like a ratio of 1 to 4. You're talking about the actual fatty acids and not like for every one saturated fat you have 4 unsaturated fat. Like that's not what that means.
Right.
Yeah, you're talking
about you're getting a good balance of them in your diet overall.
Yeah.
So like if you have I don't know, butter mostly. Make sure you're having some olive oil or eating some nuts and seeds as well.
Yeah.
And not just eating all saturated fats.
Yeah, which is funny because like for a hot minute there, everybody was like, I no unsaturated fats ever. And like, first of all, that's nearly impossible.
Yeah, you'd have to stop eating all animal foods because animal foods have unsaturated fats in them.
Yeah.
Because even if it's considered a saturated fat, it only is considered that because it's the majority of it is saturated fat.
Right.
It also has unsaturated fat.
Right. Yeah. So if we could stop with this whole pendulum swing situation, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so the next point I think, which is like really not paid attention to at all, is to start slow. As soon as like things start to warm up, and I mean like if we have a weird warm day in February, like we're outside shirtless, like that's how it is at our house. Like, so start slow. You don't need to get all midday sun on that first day that you're outside. I feel like this is something we did like as teens, right? Where it was like, it's nice out, we're going wherever we went and
gonna sunbathe all day,
or like not even just thinking about it, like just we spent
outside.
all day at Waldemere and now we're all burned. Well, yeah, no duh. Like we just put on t-shirts for the first time. Like, what do you think was going to happen?
Our poor winter skin hasn't seen the sun in like 4 months.
Truly. Yeah. It needs to start small. And even, I would even say too, like any time that you can sneak like sun on your skin in the winter, like do that too. So you're not starting like from ground zero. But yeah, starting small, you could work it up from like, start with 10 minutes, 20 minutes and just work up from there, especially your babies, especially your little ones.
Yeah.
Like, let's not burn their skin. Start slow. And then, of course, you can cover up to like long sleeves. They make like sun tops now that are like lightweight. They're meant to keep you cool. So big hats, long sleeves, shade, make your play area in your yard under the tree, under your carport, that sort of thing. So that like home base is still a shaded area.
Right. Piggybacking right off of that, like don't overdo it. If you know you're going to be in the sun for a long period of time, like if you're playing outside all day with your kids, make sure that you are wearing those long sleeves, hats. You can find non-toxic sunscreens. I'm not one of those people who's like, never sunscreen ever. Yes, please wear sunscreen if you're going to be out in the sun all day.
Yeah, that is an appropriate use of sunscreen. If you are coming in brand new to the year and you know you're going to have a long period that like there is no shade, you can't really get relief from it, that's when you use sunscreen.
Yeah.
That is the appropriate use for it. One thing that I find super fascinating is to stop wearing sunglasses. And that sounds like counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But sunglasses, there's some research that shows that it actually will block your eyes from taking in certain like forms of light, which will block the hormones made to like make you not burn. Do you know any more science on that, or did I just really butcher that?
That's about what I know about it. I mean, we talked earlier about light receptors in the eyes. Like there are light receptors in your eyes that help you determine how bright it is outside. And by wearing sunglasses, you're blocking those light receptors, and then your body doesn't know how light it is outside. There's hormones. I don't even understand this science really.
Yeah.
There's like hormones in your body that turn off and on based on how bright it is that keep you from burning.
Yeah. And I think just
or like to help you keep you from burning.
Yeah. And even just speaking anecdotally, I think both my husband and your husband both experience this like firsthand. Like I'm married to a very fair skinned man and who would burn always. And when he started working like outdoor jobs, we like did everything we could think of. So like we were eating a lot more saturated fats than we previously had. And then also he quit wearing sunglasses even to drive and stuff. And like he doesn't burn anymore at all.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It really is crazy. I don't think I would believe it so much if I hadn't experienced it.
And it's like I had a hard time finding any research on this, and I don't know why that is. Maybe I just don't know how to search for it. But it's something worth considering at least.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
obviously don't give yourself like any kind of like blindness. Like if you're out on
Please
the
don't
lake,
look directly at the sun.
Or it's like if you're out on the lake where there's like a big glare, or out in the snow where there's like a big glare. Don't destroy your eyes.
Sure. And like I keep an emergency pair in my car just in case, because obviously being able to see the road, it takes precedence over all else. So
Yeah.
let's not be dumb. But also, that's just like, if it's an accessory to you, if it's like a fashion statement, find a new one.
Yeah. Don't leave your skin in the dark.
Oh, I love it. Very good.
All right, our next point is to eat loads of antioxidant-rich foods. So light and heat cause oxidative damage, which is why we like cold-pressed unsaturated fats, and eating foods that are antioxidant-rich, and they often begin to grow and flourish during the summer season, like when the sun starts coming out. These can help to combat the oxidative stress your body may encounter. So sun can cause oxidative damage to your skin, and eating antioxidants can help combat that oxidative damage. Antioxidant-rich foods typically are like your deeply rich colored foods. Usually you hear things like blueberries.
You always think berries.
Yeah, berries are really high in antioxidants, but there's lots of other things. You just do a quick Google search on antioxidant-rich foods, and you can find lots. Or you can just pick the most brightly colored, deeply colored vegetables and fruits you can find.
Yeah, totally. I think the last point is probably like one of the best ones, to be honest with you. And it's timing your sun exposure. So it means getting sun in the morning or like as close to your like waking hours as possible. And then, doing that like siesta, like you're taking a nap at noon, not really, but like probably doing your inside things more towards the height of the sun. This can be especially helpful if you're dealing with sleep disturbances or cortisol dysregulation. And bonus points if you're able to put your bare feet in the ground at the same time.
Yeah.
Do some grounding. Didn't we talk briefly about grounding the other day?
Yes. A few episodes ago we talked about it, and I gave my very, very scientific explanation of electricity.
Which is magical, is what we determined.
It comes from magic.
Grounding sounds woo-woo, but I promise it's like literal science about energy and energy transfer and electrons and other things I don't fully understand, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But just making sure like, get your kids out in the morning, take your walk in the morning, and then, take a break from the sun or find a shade, some good shade for your like noontime activities. And then I don't know about like everybody else, but us, like we don't get back in the house until like 8 or 9 at night in the summer. Like we are enjoying.
The evening sun is also important.
Yeah, the evening sun. I think that's where like a lot of our red light beliefs come from. Yeah.
Don't buy. Well, I shouldn't say that.
Oh, struck. Hot take. Hang on.
I was gonna say I came in too hot. I did not mean it to be that strong. If you feel like you need to invest in a red light panel, but you can't afford it, you have a gigantic one that comes up and goes down every day in the sky.
It's free.
And it's free. Mm-hmm. That is your red light panel. Your free red light
Very
panel.
eco-friendly.
Yes.
Does not use electricity.
And isn't there just something about sitting outside and watching the sunset?
I'm literally like getting this warm feeling just thinking about it. Ugh. I can't wait for those summer sunsets. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up. Talking about sun exposure, some safety tips, and also your permission to not have to do everything by the book all the time. So feel free to try some alternatives to sunscreen or don't. It's up to you.
We're kind of rebels on here, like
it's true.
Libertarians at heart.
Oh no, not that word. But you're in control. You know your limits. You know your kids' limits. Be smart.
Yep.
Don't.
The sun is great, and don't just like go out and be dumb.
Well, it's like all things that like the sun is great because it's so powerful, and we respect things that are powerful. That's how we feel about supplements and essential oils and like all the other things that are wonderful. Like use caution, but don't ignore that these are great resources at our fingertips.
Yep. It's not all good or all bad.
Yep. Nuance.
There it is again. What if I told you the little pill you were prescribed could be hiding a dark secret? Hormonal birth control is marketed as safe and convenient, but the truth? The risks are far greater than most women are told. From blood clots to mood swings, nutrient depletion to long-term fertility struggles, it's time to uncover the birth control cover-up. Join me on May 6th 2025 at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a free true crime-inspired training where we expose the hidden dangers, the industry cover-ups, and the safer alternatives your doctor won't tell you about. And if you can't make it live, don't worry. The replay plus an exclusive bonus guide will be sent directly to your inbox as long as you're registered for the event. Register now for Birth Control on Trial at the link in the show notes before the evidence disappears.
So Kayla, what's good this week?
So we talked a lot about spring and liver health at the top, and then a lot about the sun in the middle. So what's good this week is springtime foods and ways to integrate those. Last week I talked about my new job at Your Daily Serving, and I worked there one day before I officially took the job just to see if it was a good fit for me. And that day she made a leek and asparagus couscous that was absolutely amazing, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I came home and I made it myself, and it is delicious. Like, I'm not an asparagus person. I do not care for asparagus at all. It has to be cooked just right for me to even think about it.
Yeah.
And my husband won't even touch it, most generally. Like, he might have one because it's there, and then he's like, I'm done. I do not like this.
Can't relate. Go on.
Yeah. He was like, this is amazing.
Wow.
So it was very good. So asparagus is one of those like springtime foods, and it's kind of bitter. That's why some people don't really like it.
Yeah.
But it can be really, really helpful for liver health. And
awesome.
This is your encouragement to not just eat a bitter vegetable raw and disgusting without anything on it.
Yeah.
You can make it fancy and delicious.
I bet it had like lemon in it too.
It did have some lemon.
Kind of bright. That sounds good.
Yeah, it was very good. And I made a dill meatball to go with it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so I just
you
did
can make
ground
some like
beef with
tzatziki
breadcrumbs
to go with it. That would be so good.
I was like trying really hard not to pile on all of the same flavor. I tend to do this where I like make a meal and I'm like, I'm just going to use all of the same ingredients on everything.
Yeah.
And so now everything tastes kind of the same and is very overpowering, and I can't eat it because it's too much.
Yes,
It
I get
needs
that.
some variation.
Yes.
I know I do this.
Well, it's so tempting, right? Because it's something you have already. There's plenty of it. And like,
might as well.
I love garlic. Why not put it on literally everything?
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, slow down.
I did this one time where it's like I made like honey mustard chicken thighs with honey mustard potatoes, and it was like honey mustard everything, and I was like, wow, that was too much honey mustard.
There's the line. We didn't know. Now we know.
Right. So yeah, make your springtime foods delicious and nutritious.
What a tag.
What about you, Emily?
So I am giddy because I am rereading a series that, like, if you were to ask me what's your favorite book, I would say Inkheart by Cornelia Funke. And
I love Inkheart.
I was not a reader. I've not always been a reader, and I have not recently been a reader. But that was a book I read when I was probably around 12, and it made me fall in love with books and fall in love with reading and go, wait, I don't hate reading. I actually really love it. Highly recommend. And I just reread it for the first time in 15 years, 16, 17 years. And I would just like to say it held up. And I was teary reading it. Partially because it was so good, but also like it's still good.
Yeah,
I was worried
to find a book that holds up.
I was worried it wouldn't be
the
good
test of
anymore.
time.
And oh my goodness, it's so good. I highly recommend. Fantastic for reluctant readers too. On the thick side, but worth it.
Yeah.
So good.
I bet it would be fantastic as audiobook too.
It is. And you know who narrates it?
Please tell me Andy Serkis.
Brendan Fraser.
Oh, that is perfect.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to nerd out for a second. I don't know the sequence of events that has happened. If book chat is not for you, I'll see you next week. So she wrote Inkheart, and then in Ink Spell, that's the second one, the dedication is to Brendan Fraser, who quote, brought Mo to life. And I assume he must have narrated Inkheart before
Yes,
Ink
he
Spell
must
was
have.
written, or that edition was written or
because
something.
they like record those like right around publication, right?
I think
release them
so.
at the same
Usually.
time?
Yeah. So I was just like, wait, this is like canon
And then
that
he
like.
played him in the movie.
And then he played in the movie, which the movie was not great, but like Brendan Fraser, it's still worth your
That's why
time.
I said Andy Serkis, because he was Capricorn.
I forgot about that. I have blocked the movie completely out
Andy
of
Serkis.
Andy Serkis is very good. Yes. Anyways, all that to say, I very much recommend those books.
Are we a pop culture podcast now?
I don't know. Should we do a spin-off?
Yeah.
We could do a spin-off. I feel like this has been done though. This is like your favorite podcast trope where like I don't know anything about pop culture. Okay, hear me out. What if we do a podcast that mixes history and pop culture, and you can come tell me pop culture things and I can come tell you history things?
I think Katie would be great on this podcast.
That would be so fun.
You, me, and Katie would have a great time doing that.
Can you let us know if you want to hear that? Because I think we want to make it.
Katie, tell us yes.
That'd be so fun. Anyways, thank you for listening to the Good Enough Wellness Podcast.
To learn more about my one-on-one packages, join my mailing list and follow me on Instagram at Kayla King Wellness.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Good Enough Wellness Podcast feed wherever you listen to podcasts. You don't want to miss an episode.
Follow us on Instagram at Good Enough Wellness Podcast to learn about upcoming episodes and join our free Patreon to interact with the Good Enough community.
The Good Enough Wellness Podcast, because good enough can be good enough.
Well, that's good enough for me.
Me too.